I love acting. That was a blessing of my life, and I never really wanted to be like a big actress, but I just always were.
A 3-minute scene, no dialogue, yet enough to become legendary. It left millions of viewers stunned, but it almost never existed. If you've ever watched Cool Hand Luke, 1967, you undoubtedly remember the steamiest car wash scene in cinematic history. The moment Joy Harmon appeared, clad in a thin dress, soap suds gliding over her skin, while the prisoners and the audience alike stood frozen in awe. But Joy Harmon was not just the car wash girl. Before becoming an on-screen icon, she was Miss Connecticut, a promising actress, and one of Hollywood's most striking beauty symbols. And if you think this scene was just a spontaneous moment of cinematic allure, you'd be mistaken. The day before filming, Joy Harmon nearly walked away from the role. A shocking request from the production team placed her at a crossroads, forcing her to consider leaving the set for good. Had she done so, would Hollywood still have one of its most unforgettable cinematic moments? What really happened behind the scenes? Why did Joy Harmon disappear from Hollywood despite having the chance to shine? Let's uncover the astonishing story of the woman behind one of the most electrifying scenes in film history. Joy Patricia Harmon was born on May 1st, 1940, in either Jackson Heights or Flushing, New York. She was the daughter of Homer Harmon and grew up in a middle-class family with a strict upbringing. Not much is known about her mother or siblings, but one thing is certain. Joy Harmon stood out from an early age, both in appearance and intellect. In 1946, when Joy was just 6 years old, her family moved to Connecticut, where she had a relatively peaceful childhood filled with significant turning points. Even as a child, she attracted attention with her bright face, large round eyes, and striking figure. At just 3 years old, she had the rare opportunity to appear in front of the camera as a clothing model for Fox Movietone News, an unusual feat for a child at that time. However, beauty was not the only thing that made Joy Harmon extraordinary. She was an exceptionally intelligent child, skipping 2 grades and consistently ranking among the top students. As a teenager, she attended Staples High School in Westport, Connecticut. It was during this time that she began to exude confidence in public, not only through extracurricular activities but also in beauty pageants. With her striking looks, ideal height, and a well-proportioned figure, later recorded at an astonishing 44-22-36, Joy quickly caught the eye of the entertainment industry. She entered beauty pageants and wasted no time in securing titles, winning Miss Connecticut, and placing as the second runner-up in the 1957 Miss Connecticut pageant at just 17 years old. However, winning beauty contests was merely the beginning. Hollywood was not an easy world. It demanded more than just beauty. It required boldness, resilience, and at times, sacrifices that not everyone was willing to make. Before becoming a silver screen bombshell, Joy Harmon was more than just a pretty face. She was a true artist, gradually making her way through theater, television, and film. But despite her striking looks, her journey into Hollywood was far from a fairy tale. Unlike many Hollywood starlets who gained fame solely for their appearance, Joy Harmon had a solid artistic foundation. She began her career in theater, taking on roles that required flexibility and performance skills. She appeared in productions such as Pajama Tops, The Marriage Go Round, The Solid Gold Cadillac, The Tender Trap, The Importance of Being Earnest, and Susan Slept Here. Her charm, natural stage presence, and quick-witted delivery caught the audience's attention. But the stage alone was not enough. She needed to step into a bigger arena. With her growing reputation in theater, Joy Harmon soon found opportunities to go further. She officially made it to Broadway with Make a Million, 1958, playing Betty Phillips, a significant milestone in her career. She didn't stop there. She later appeared in another version of Susan Slept Here, 1961, proving that she was more than just a beauty, she had real talent. But what's fascinating is that before she gained widespread recognition, Joy Harmon made an unexpected appearance on television, not as an actress, but as a quiz show contestant. She was a participant on You Bet Your Life, the popular show hosted by the legendary Groucho Marx. Her beauty and charisma instantly caught the attention of producers. Before long, she was invited to join Tell It to Groucho, but this time not as a contestant. She was cast as an actress. She was credited under the name Patty Harmon, a detail that few people remember today. Guest appearances in hit TV series continued to increase her visibility. Gidget, the popular teen-centered series. Batman, a television phenomenon of its time. The Monkees, the wildly successful 1960s series. Each time she appeared, even briefly, Joy Harmon left a lasting impression. But the question remained, could she break through, or would she always be relegated to minor roles? Joy Harmon soon transitioned into film, landing supporting roles that still managed to make an impact. Under the Yum Yum Tree, 1963, a romantic comedy where she had the chance to work alongside the legendary Jack Lemmon. Her role as Ardise wasn't a major one, but it was enough to get her noticed as one of Hollywood's striking beauties of the era. Never Too Young, 1965 to 66, Joy played the girlfriend of Tony Dow in this long-running TV series, one of the first teen-oriented dramas in the U.S. This marked her first role with more significance on the small screen. Village of the Giants, 1965, perhaps the most outrageous role of her early career. She played Mary, a teenager transformed into a 30-foot giant after a failed experiment. But what truly shocked audiences was a scene where she captured Johnny Crawford, a normal-sized actor, and dangled him from her bikini top. The scene sparked controversy, but also helped the film gain cult status as one of the quirkiest sci-fi movies ever made. With her appearances in numerous films and TV shows, Joy Harmon had secured a place in Hollywood. But as dazzling as her looks were, she soon realized that beauty alone was not always enough for a long-lasting career. Hollywood was a ruthless game where stunning women could rise to fame overnight but be forgotten just as quickly without a defining role. And in 1967, that opportunity finally arrived. A role with no dialogue, lasting only a few minutes, yet powerful enough to make Hollywood remember her forever. The car wash scene in Cool Hand Luke would make her a legend. But what few know is that she almost walked away from the role just before filming. Why? What happened behind the scenes? Stay tuned for the next part, the story behind the most sensual scene in cinematic history. In 1967, Cool Hand Luke was released and instantly became one of Hollywood's most iconic films. The story follows Luke Jackson, a World War II veteran sentenced to hard labor in a Florida prison camp. Paul Newman delivered a legendary performance in the role of Luke, alongside a stellar cast, including George Kennedy, who won an Academy Award for his portrayal. But amid all the brutal prison scenes, the beatings, the escape attempts, and the infamous challenge of eating 50 eggs, there was one moment that changed the entire film. A scene lasting only 3 minutes with no dialogue, but one that left the entire cinematic world speechless. No one in that prison yard could have anticipated that an exhausting workday under the scorching sun would transform into one of the most sensual movie scenes of all time. As the prisoners labored in the trenches, sweat dripping under the relentless heat, Lucille appeared. She walked in carrying a radio and a hose. No words, no hurried movements, just the simple act of washing a car. But the way she did it commanded every gaze. Her dress clung to her body, her skin glistened under the water, and each movement of the sponge was slow, deliberate, as if she knew she held absolute power over the men who were left paralyzed by sheer awe. She wasn't just washing a car, she was toying with tension, with desire, with the very hunger she had just ignited. The only man bold enough to voice what everyone was thinking was Dragleen, played by George Kennedy. Watching the scene unfold, he uttered, "Anything so innocent and built like that just gotta be named Lucille." But there was one thing audiences never knew. The male actors in this scene never actually saw Joy Harmon. In reality, director Stuart Rosenberg employed a daring strategy to ensure their reactions were as raw and authentic as possible. In the weeks leading up to the shoot, he banned the actors' wives and girlfriends from visiting the set, effectively starving them of any exposure to sensuality. And when the filming day arrived, instead of Joy Harmon, the men found themselves staring at a high school girl in an oversized coat, chosen as a stand-in. Everything they displayed on screen was purely their reaction to an entirely different point of view. Meanwhile, Joy Harmon filmed her part completely separately. Unaware of the director's plan, she simply followed instructions, and it was precisely that innocence that created an irresistible allure. What seemed like a simple scene ended up taking 3 days to shoot instead of the originally scheduled half-day, as the director insisted on capturing multiple angles to achieve the perfect effect. Looking back on the experience, Joy Harmon later admitted she never realized just how sensual the scene was. "I just thought I was washing a car." But the audience and film history thought otherwise. The car wash scene in Cool Hand Luke was not just a display of sensuality. It became a symbol of temptation, longing, and the unattainable. In the harsh reality of the prison camp, Lucille appeared like a mirage, a fleeting dream, yet powerful enough to linger forever. Though Joy Harmon was on screen for only 3 minutes, without a single line of dialogue, she left an indelible mark. And the most surprising part? She almost walked away from the role the day before filming. Now, let's be honest. When you watch this 3-minute scene, does your heart beat a little faster? Do you feel a slight warmth creeping in, or are you like those prisoners, mouth slightly open, swallowing hard, pretending everything is fine? Be real. What was your first reaction? Don't be shy. Share it below, and don't pretend to be unaffected. No one can deny that the car wash scene in Cool Hand Luke became one of the most unforgettable moments in Hollywood history. But what most viewers don't know is that it almost never happened. And the reason? A shocking demand from the production team nearly pushed Joy Harmon to quit. The day before filming, some producers made an outrageous suggestion. They wanted Joy Harmon to smoke marijuana before the scene to relax and enhance her natural allure. This wasn't a casual recommendation, but an implicit pressure, an unspoken coercion that made the young actress feel deeply disrespected. Joy Harmon was not the kind of person to accept unreasonable demands just to keep a role. She had never touched marijuana, and she saw no reason to change that for a single scene. Her reaction was firm. She refused immediately. But that wasn't the end of it. Frustrated and upset, she seriously considered walking away from the film, ready to give up the chance to be part of one of the biggest movies of the year. This left director Stuart Rosenberg in a difficult position. He knew no one could replace Joy Harmon as Lucille. She was the one he needed for this iconic scene, and if she left, the car wash sequence would never have the impact he envisioned. Left with no other choice, Rosenberg personally approached Joy Harmon to apologize. But he didn't just offer words. He brought a bouquet of flowers and a box of chocolates, a small gesture of goodwill, hoping she would move past the incident. After careful thought, Joy Harmon finally agreed to film the scene, knowing full well she didn't need any substances to create a moment that would captivate audiences. And she was absolutely right. Ironically, the scene, initially planned to take only half a day, ended up stretching across 3 days. The lighting, the camera angles, and Rosenberg's meticulous direction required multiple takes. But looking at the final result, every second on screen was worth it. The car wash scene was more than just a sensual moment. It was a statement from Joy Harmon. She didn't need to conform to absurd requests to be remembered. And indeed, she became a legend in just 3 minutes of screen time. Joy Harmon's story is more than just an interesting behind-the-scenes anecdote. It is a profound lesson in self-worth and unwavering resolve. Under pressure from the producers, she refused to compromise, even though she knew that saying no might cost her a role in a major film. But rather than accepting a demand that went against her principles, she chose to stand her ground. In an industry where many actors feel forced to make concessions just to survive, Joy Harmon's decision was not merely an act of defiance, it was a powerful affirmation of personal value. She understood that true allure does not stem from external coercion, but from authenticity, confidence, and the performer's innate presence. Her determination forced director Stuart Rosenberg to yield. A man with the ultimate authority on set, rather than pressuring her or seeking a replacement, was compelled to personally apologize, bringing flowers and chocolates as a peace offering. This was not just an act of appeasement. It was proof that when you bring value to the table, you have the right to say no. Hollywood has never lacked beautiful faces, but not everyone possesses the strength to uphold their principles while still earning respect. Looking at the bigger picture, this story serves as a reminder that in life, recognition does not always require compromise. Sometimes, standing firm in your beliefs not only preserves your dignity, but forces others to see you in a new light. If you hold value, opportunities will not abandon you. It is up to you to decide whether to seize them. And the result of Joy Harmon's choice is clear. Her car wash scene did not just become legendary. It stands as proof that success does not always come from surrender. More notably, what was originally meant to be a half-day shoot ended up taking 3 days to complete. Though it required more time than expected, the final outcome proved that patience and respect yield lasting value. Had Joy Harmon compromised from the start, had the director not insisted on capturing the perfect shot, Cool Hand Luke might never have had one of the most unforgettable moments in cinematic history. Joy Harmon's career may not have lasted as long as that of other Hollywood stars, but her 3 minutes on screen remain unforgettable. More importantly, she did not have to sacrifice herself to achieve that. And that is what truly matters. After years of being an on-screen icon, Joy Harmon chose a different path than many of her contemporaries. Instead of chasing the endless glamour of Hollywood, she stepped into a new chapter of her life, one that was quieter, more peaceful, but far more meaningful. In 1968, Joy married Jeff Gorson, a film editor and producer. Their marriage never made tabloid headlines, never courted scandal, and yet it lasted for more than 3 decades, until 2001. Throughout those years, they weren't just husband and wife, they were true partners, building a life together with unwavering commitment. The couple had 3 children, Jamie Gorson, Julie Gorson, and Jason Gorson. Among them, Jason followed in his father's footsteps, becoming both an actor and a film editor. Another of her children works at Walt Disney Studios, continuing the family's tradition in the entertainment industry. Joy Harmon's decision to step away from the screen may have surprised some, but to those who truly understood her, it made perfect sense. From the moment she entered Hollywood, she had never been one to chase fame at any cost. She had entered the industry naturally, without force or desperation, and when she had achieved what she wanted, she had no hesitation in leaving it behind to seek something more meaningful. In a rare interview years later, when asked if she ever regretted leaving Hollywood so soon, she simply smiled and said, "I had my beautiful moments on screen, but the most precious moments were being a mother and a wife. In Hollywood, you can be a star, but to your family, you are the whole world." Hollywood can turn someone into a legend, but it can also consume them if they don't know when to walk away. Joy Harmon made a clear choice, a life of tranquility, surrounded by those who truly mattered to her. But did stepping away from the screen mean she had vanished entirely? Not quite. Joy Harmon still found a way to keep a part of herself in the industry, though in a way no one could have predicted. What do you think of Joy Harmon's decision? Between dazzling fame and a peaceful life with family, which would you choose? While many stars cling to Hollywood despite the chaos, she willingly left it all behind. Was it a wise decision or a missed opportunity? Either way, fans have always respected her choice. And you, do you support her decision? Share your thoughts below. Throughout the history of cinema, there are moments that last only seconds yet become eternal symbols. For Joy Harmon, 3 minutes on screen in Cool Hand, Luke transformed her into a legend. The car wash scene was not just one of the most sensual sequences ever filmed. It became a cultural imprint, forever tying her to that image. From that moment on, Joy Harmon was no longer just an actress. She was the car wash girl from Cool Hand Luke, a title that would follow her for the rest of her life. The fame that came from that scene exceeded all expectations, to the point where, even during her honeymoon in Las Vegas, she couldn't escape the shadow of her own creation. Hotels recognized her instantly and offered her free stays, simply because they knew they were hosting the woman who had left Hollywood spellbound. The irony? While audiences, directors, and critics hailed the scene as a masterpiece of cinematic allure, Joy Harmon herself never saw it that way. When asked about the experience, she simply laughed and said, "I just thought I was washing a car." Yet, Cool Hand Luke wasn't just famous for Joy Harmon's scene. The film also delivered one of the most legendary lines in cinematic history. "What we've got here is failure to communicate." More than just dialogue, it became a symbol of defiance, rebellion, and the refusal to submit to authority. Much like how Joy Harmon carved her own path, from the glow of the silver screen to the life she truly wanted. 3 minutes on screen may have been fleeting, but the mark Joy Harmon left endures through time. Leaving Hollywood didn't mean disappearing. After stepping away from her acting career, Joy Harmon chose a simpler life, focusing on family rather than the chaos and spotlight of the entertainment industry. But while she no longer appeared on screen, she still found a way to stay connected to the business, just in an entirely unexpected way. In Burbank, California, Joy Harmon founded Aunt Joy's Cakes, a bakery where she channeled her creative passion from film into an entirely different craft: baking. Her bakery didn't just serve regular customers, it became a go-to supplier of desserts for Hollywood film productions. With cakes made from fresh butter and cream, Philadelphia cream cheese, Belgian chocolate, and ripe fruit, she continued leaving her mark on the entertainment industry, just in a sweeter way. Perhaps filmmakers no longer saw Joy Harmon on screen, but they certainly remembered her with every bite of cake from Aunt Joy's Cakes. Despite being away from the spotlight for decades, Joy Harmon still enjoys the admiration of fans. She frequently receives fan letters and happily signs autographs, keeping a connection with those who have never forgotten her. Some devoted admirers have even made their way to her bakery on Flower Street in Burbank, just for the chance to meet the woman who once left Hollywood frozen in awe in Cool Hand Luke. She may have stepped away from Hollywood, but her presence remains. Perhaps now, even sweeter than ever. After a fleeting yet unforgettable moment, she didn't chase fame or seek more roles to prove herself. In just 3 minutes on screen, Joy Harmon achieved what many spend a lifetime pursuing but never attain: becoming an eternal icon. Joy Harmon may not have been the brightest star in Hollywood, but she proved that a long career isn't always necessary. Sometimes all it takes is the right moment to shine, and history will remember you. And she did just that, by simply being herself. Do you believe that a single moment can turn someone into a legend? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss more fascinating stories about Hollywood's greatest icons. See you in the next video.